Hello, I am here on my couch. Um, I have some updates for you. Each week, I will be posting one of these videos just to let you know if there are any new things to know, grades, updates, etc. Okay, so here are some updates. Next thing, if you have not sent me the filled out info sheet with your info at the top and then your schedule preferences for this semester, please do that by tonight at like 5 p.m. so I can get the schedule done. It does take me a while to put it in there, and I want time to give everybody a chance to give me feedback on the hours that they got. So um, if you have not done that yet, please do that by today, okay? So, next thing, this week is going to feel kind of like a crash course into the highlights of tutoring in a writing center. Um, I promise that we'll talk about these principles in much more depth this semester, but I wanted to make sure you were ready in case you have a session next week. We're typically pretty slow at this point of the semester, but you never know. So I wanted to make sure that you had the things you absolutely need in order to conduct a session. You're only in person, by the way, in the center if you are an English GA or if I hired you as an undergrad. If you're just taking the course, you're only tutoring 1 hour a week, and that will be online because it's an online course. I know that's kind of weird, but that's the way the course works. So if you have any questions about that, let me know. Also, I want to remind you that I'm in my office most of the time. If you want to come talk to me about anything, formal office hours for this class that I've listed in the syllabus, and it's on the Blackboard site. But if you want to come see me outside of those hours, most of the time I'm there from like 9:30 to 3ish, sometimes 4. When the writing center opens, I'll be there even more often. So come talk to me if you have any issues or questions or concerns or anything like that. Last week, I didn't get a chance to talk through how I grade discussion board posts, but I did include a pretty in depth description of what I'm looking for in terms of number of posts, how long they should be, what they should include, and I also have a rubric, I don't know if you saw it, attached to that assignment so you can see exactly how I grade discussion board posts. Essentially, as long as you're doing what the requirements say, you'll do fine. Um, just make sure, I would say, to keep on top of it throughout the week because it does kind of sneak up on you. Do not wait until Monday to do your discussion board posts. You miss out on the entire conversation. Um, and I try to be involved in the discussion too. It does get harder for me if all of it is happening on Monday because then it's like we have 20 people talking to each other, and I'm trying to respond and give you comments and answer questions and step in where needed. So please try to stagger your posts throughout the week. It would really help me out. If you want to like maybe have your first post done before the weekend starts, maybe early weekend you start posting, even that is better than just waiting until Monday. So if I need to, I'll give you deadlines for that throughout the week, but I'd rather not do that. So yeah, just stay on top of it. And I usually have those graded within the next week or so. So I should be able to grade last week's this week, and it'll be right in Blackboard. Speaking of discussion board posts, the discussion board from last week, not the fun introduction one, but the other one about Stephen North's writing, I have worked my way, I think, almost through half of it, but I haven't been able to jump into the entire discussion yet, so I'll do the rest of that this week. Again, a lot of them came in just today, so try not to do that this week, please. And I think so. To give you a little bit of context into why I assigned that reading first, that piece came out in 1984, the first one, I believe, which is quite a while ago now. You know, it was a different time for writing centers. a lot of people, more people than now, have had a lot of like misconceptions about what writing centers do, um, including just having professors require their students to go there and giving them little to no feedback and just kind of putting everything on the tutor to, get the student an A. That happens less now, but it still can happen. And North wrote that piece out of, I think you probably picked up on the tone, a lot of frustration with people who were just misunderstanding the work of a writing center, and the fact that we're trying to grow writers and we're not trying to fix the writing, right? So we're not necessarily as focused on the product in front of us as we are at making sure that our clients leave the center with some tools that they can use later, as a writer. We want it to be more about them. And so that's the frustration that he was kind of coming out of. His companion piece, the one that he did in the early 90s, I think, afterward, a lot of people picked up on this in the discussion board, but it was kind of like, I'm being a little too idealistic. Sometimes students are going to come to the center and not want to be there. Not everybody really likes talking about writing. There are complications, both on an institutional level, how writing centers are funded, who's in charge of them, and the professor complicates things too, right? And so students come to the center with conflicting ideas of what they should do with an assignment and whether they should make the professor happy and how do I do this. So he basically was like, it's a little more complicated than I wanted it to be. And here are some complications that we find in the center, and here's how we can still focus on creating writing centers as communities where people can talk about writing together and also focus on growing the writer. So the reason why I assigned that first is because I think a lot of us might come to working in a writing center with some of those conceptions, and I like to start with those just by kind of hammering home the point that North is making, which is that we're trying to grow the writer. We're trying to make the writer better. And we're trying to be a welcoming space where people can come and talk about writing collaboratively. So anyway, that's why I assigned that. And that's a couple of highlights from our discussion last week. Last thing is I just want to give you a little preview of what we're doing this week and to give you a little context. The first half of things we're going to be doing are logistics about what happens in a tutoring session, how to structure them, that kind of thing, do's and don'ts, quick things that are going to help you as you tutor in the writing center. Again, we'll talk a lot more about those things later. And then we also are going to be doing some more reading. And what else are we doing? I have a list here. We're going to be doing some more reading into early writing center theory like we did last week. I'm going to give you some sample tutoring sessions to watch. Purdue has a lot of recorded videos of tutoring sessions that you can watch, so at least you can see what a tutoring session looks like because you're not taking this class in person. So that'll help, I think, just to see one. I might have two. We'll see what I find. And then I'm also going to have you do some early thinking about your past writing experiences because your first assignment, while you have quite a while to work on it, it's not due for a while, I want you to start thinking about some prior writing experiences because your first big assignment is going to be like a, what did I call it? I guess I called it an essay. It's more of a reflection about how you learn to write, how it informs what kind of writer you are now. The idea with that is just to kind of use that thinking in order to think more about your tutoring philosophy and how it informs the tutoring that you do. So anyway, that's this week. All right, cool.
That's all, folks.